Bum, bada, bum, 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 bum. What is up, y'all? Philly Fly Show checking in here, kicking it at Right Way Production Studios, and we are back. UFC pay-per-view 319. Dricus Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev, and we are in for a banger, boys and girls. I cannot wait for this fight at all. I've been waiting for a while once it was announced, and it's been frustrating because you're breaking it down into 2 different ways, 3 different ways, 4 different ways, and you're like, man, can this fight just happen? I just want to see it play out. It's finally here. Tomorrow is the day we get to see who the middleweight champion's going to be, because once the middleweight title's on the line, the champion going in is no longer champion. He is either defending or losing. So it's a way to look at it. I'm just going to toot my own horn here before I grab my paperwork right down here. 9 for 12 last week again for the Philly Fly Show. So again, we're hitting at a very high number of picks. I know a lot of people will say it's very easy to do this. I'm going to tell you, it's not that easy to do. There was a whole year and a half where, if you listen to the Philly Fly Show when it was just the black screen, it was like, we were bad. It was bad percentage, like under 50% for like a year and a half. I could barely get over that. It was nuts. It was fun. Hey, we are here, though, for the Philly Fly Show. I'm going to grab my paperwork here quick. Another one thing I want to say is Anthony Hernandez, Fluffy. Man, dude, if you don't know who that is, the guy's got one of the best gas tanks, one of the best. I'm going to say he's a top-level striker. I don't care what anyone says because they say he's a grappler. He is a top-level striker. Nobody really wants to grapple with him. What he did to Roman Dolidze was insane. And when I mean insane, I mean one of those, like, I would have never predicted that's what he would have manhandled him the way he did. So that was crazy. I'm going to shout out that. This week on the Philly Fly Show, I do have 2. Dropping stuff here. 2 parlays here for you. I haven't been doing those. I've been doing just single picks, mainly because people dog parlays so much. I am a parlay lover. I don't give a damn about what you think. When I'm down betting NFL prop bets, NBA prop bets, I'm putting a bunch of them on there. Like sometimes it'll be 12, and I've hit several 20-plus leg ones. The trick is to alternative spread everything and do what you're pretty more confident in than the regular spread. That's the trick, I'll say, for the future stuff that you'll see on the Philly Fly Show page. But on the podcast here, we only do UFC stuff. So there's 2 parlays. There's 3, well, technically 5 bets I'd put in on singles that I'm going to show. And then all your cash guys back. I figure I put that out there. That's on this little sheet. Little sheet's going to go down here for now because that's going to be the ending. We already talked about the main event a little bit. Let's just jump into the card. Let's just get into it, guys. Match like number 13, flyweight male division fight. This is for the Ultimate Fighter winner finale. I do not watch the Ultimate Fighter anymore. It has not been that good. I actually have a really cool idea that I might throw out there on the page that I think will bring in the Ultimate Fighter a way more success if they bring it to Paramount. Also, I didn't even talk about that till now. If you haven't heard about the news about UFC Paramount, I shared it on the Philly Fly Show. It is the future of the UFC, and I cannot wait for it. No more pay-per-views. I forgot even to start the show with that. That probably would have been the best thing to start the show with, because that was one of the biggest news ever in the world. It's wow. Ultimate Fighter will probably end up going to Paramount. I don't see why I would stick on ESPN when they don't have a deal with ESPN. So that was all I was saying. I just don't watch this. I didn't watch this current one also because it was DC. We get enough DC as it is on each UFC fight show. He's more than enough. I didn't need to see him on the Ultimate Fighter. And Chael, y'all know how I feel about Chael. I think he was definitely one of those guys that was overrated. All right, match like 13. Ill-Body Idris versus Joseph Morales. Now, Joseph Morales has had a UFC stint before. He is part of Team Alpha Male. So, to be honest with you, I think he's taken on more competition than Alibi. But Alibi is is the favorite for a reason. He's an undefeated, not underdog, undefeated fighter at 10-0. But negative 500 on Albidi, plus 350 on Morales. I wanted to go Morales just with the whole. He just had more experience, I feel like. But these Kazakhstan fighters, sometimes their grappling is way more levels above than everyone else. So I'm going to go with the favorite, but I'm not betting this fight, y'all. This is a fight stay away from. Sit back and enjoy the first fight and drink your cocktail or use your cannabis or whatever you're going to do. All right, match leg number 13 here. Picking Albini, 1 out of 5 on the confidence level that he can get his hand raised. Match leg number 12 is a flyweight female fight. It is a badass fight. Do not miss this fight. Karine Silva versus Dion Barboza. Barboza is stepping in on short notice. So with her, that makes her the plus 180 underdog. Silva is the 11th ranked flyweight in the UFC. I'm going to say that negative 220 is favorable. I'm going to pick that negative 220 and pick Karine Silva to get a big win here. She has some crazy good striking that I really like. So good news there for that kind of fight if you're into the striking fights. Silva's going to put on a show. 3 out of 5 on the confidence level. She can get her hand raised. All right. Match leg number 11 is a middleweight fight between two I don't know how to describe either of them other than ruthless brawlers. They don't care what kind of fight you're going to bring to them. If it's going to be grappling, striking, they're mixing both of them in there, and they're in there to hurt you. They are not in there to be friendly. You can be friendly with them the whole time before the fight. It's after the fight when they turn that just switch right off. So Brian Battle versus Nursultan Ruzabev. Now, Ruzabev is a plus 140 underdog, whereas Battle is a negative 170 favorite. Look, man, this is a sit back. Either side is risky to bet on because you don't know who can put up the better power shot and who can set up their submission game. You just don't know in this fight. It can go either way. They're both good on the feet. They're both good grappling. They're both good gas tanks. There's nothing bad about them. They both are competing to get into the ranking system. I'm going Brian Battle here, but I'm not very confident on it. I would sit back and only do risk bets on there if you're going to do either of these guys. 1 out of 5 on the confidence level that he can get his hand raised. If you don't know the show, that's how I base my whole show off, is a 1 out of 5 confidence scale. If you're betting on the one, if it's 1 out of 5, you are taking a risk on that, on who you think I'm picking or yourself if you do it this way. 5 obviously is the best. 5 is very hard to get. It does not happen on the Philly Fly Show very often. 4 is usually the highest you can get. We do not have any 4s on here. It's all 3s. If it's a 3 or above, I typically will throw it in a parlay. That's my suggestion. That's how I do this. Jump to match leg number 10, lightweight division. Edson Barboza versus Jakar Close. Jakar Close plus 115 underdog, whereas Edson Barboza is a negative 135 favorite. I feel like people just don't know the name of Jakar Close. He has been a roller coaster in UFC in the lightweight. He gets up there, faces stiff competition, gets knocked out or doesn't win the fight. Same thing happens, and then some bad stuff happened in this guy's life. He's finally recovered from it, and he's fighting a guy in Edson Barboza who I'm glad he's fighting at lightweight because I feel like featherweight is killing him to get to. Him fighting more at lightweight does help him in his age process, but if we saw anything in his last fight, man, the power and the speed of the striking is still there. It's just the timing is something was off in his last fight. For me, it's looking like age, so I feel like Jakar Close can get a good win here. I am picking Jakar Close, and I am pretty confident on it just because I just don't. Edson Barboza has struggled against guys who can grapple, have a gas tank, and can strike. Well, Jakar Close is more known as a striker that kind of went to learning how to grapple so he couldn't get defeated in grappling. So he's got both sides of the sword there. Edson, if he doesn't get you out in the first round, man, I don't trust his gas tank at his age. So we're going Jakar Close. 3 out of 5 on the confidence level that Jakar Close can get his hand raised, baby. Now, match leg number 9 is a badass fight, too. It's one of those don't miss fights. It's staying in the lightweight division. Chase Hooper versus Alexander Hernandez. Man, Alexander goes from featherweight to lightweight. I think I've seen him fight at welterweight. I swear I have, but I won't say that. I won't define that one. I've for sure seen him bounce between two weight classes. So it's cool to see him back in the lightweight. But you're fighting a guy in Chase Hooper, negative 350, Hernandez plus 270. Chase Hooper has been in the UFC for 5 years, and he's only 25 years old. So he's been in here since he's been 20. We've seen him as a kid, and we've seen him recently on his major leaps in his MMA skill that just nobody talks about. I was a dogger of this kid. I thought all he could do was grapple and he'll never be able to strike. Well, guy shut me up a couple fights ago, and now I'm on the bandwagon of Chase Hooper. I'll jump all over that. Chase Hooper is getting a big win on Saturday, 3 out of 5 on the confidence level. He gets his hand raised in a big fashion too. I would pick a finish there because his hands are nasty, and when he drops you with his hands, which we've seen Hernandez get in brawls, he'll take a shot to give a shot. He tends to go to the ground, and when you go to the ground with Chase Hooper, it is over with. So match like number 8 we're going to jump to is a female fight, strawweight division. Jessica Andrade back in the octagon versus Lupi Gadides, who is also back in the octagon. Both fighters, I love these girls. Jessica Andrade is number 5 ranked strawweight, whereas Lupi Gadides is a 11th ranked strawweight. Gadides is a negative 150 favorite. Jessica Andrade plus 125. Look, I love Lupi, but for whatever reason, whenever she's faced a ranked competitor that's way better or known to be better than her, or even just above her in the rankings, she just has come up a bit short. And it just sucks because I'm picking against that again. I cannot pick Lupi to beat somebody until she beats somebody. And Jessica, well, there's a blue book on Jessica on how to beat her. If you can submit her, it is over. But Lupi's more of a striker. She's got grappling too, but she's more of a striker, and I think that's where Andrade being able to mix it up and land way bigger power shots is going to be bad for her. I'm picking Jessica Andrade to win this fight, but I'm not very confident on it. 1 out of 5 on the confidence level that she can get her hand raised. Match like number 7 is a crazy story. We're going to jump into it. It's a middleweight fight between Baysager Surukev versus Eric Nolans. Now, Surukev is a negative 1,000 favorite. Nolans is a plus 600. They're both making their UFC debut. Well, Surukev just got his contract from the UFC on Tuesday in Dana White's Contender Series after he put on a show there. So he's fighting on 4 days' notice from fighting 4 days ago. The first ever to get a contract that soon and fight on a card. It's a great story. I love it. I am not dogging the guy, but man, Eric Nolan, like he's a military vet of some sorts. I can't remember which one he said this morning when I was watching the UFC weigh-in show, but Eric, I really want to pick Eric. Here's what I'm going to say with this fight. It is so hard for someone to win in a short notice fight like that. Go look at the percentages on the sides of each. I couldn't figure it all out because when I was going too far back, and I just figured, hey, let y'all do the research and do what you want. You can put Sergachev on any of your parlays. I'm not going to. It's too big of a risk for me for a guy fighting on 4 days' notice. But it's not too big of a risk for me to put a 20 down on Eric Nolans on that plus 600. It's worth it, guys. Do it, but I'm picking Sergachev to win 1 out of 5 on my confidence level. It's going to be cool to see if he can have a gas tank to fight a whole fight if it goes 3 rounds, let's say. And the featured prelim of the evening is a middleweight bout. Gerald Meerschaert versus Mikhail Olazuzek. Olazuzek is a negative 235 favorite, whereas Meerschaert's a plus 190 underdog. Look, man, time's gone by Meerschaert. He only wins when guys get too confident in their grappling. Well, the difference there, Mikhail always had a decent grappling, and his MMA skill set is what puts people. They don't expect him to hit hard. He hits really, really hard. They don't expect him to be semi-fast on the feet. He's fast on the feet. And they don't expect him to be able to grapple. And he could grapple at a very high level, but not a top-tier level. Well, now he's with the fighting nerds and learning how to actually grapple. Yes, the fighting nerds are good strikers, but they're also very good grapplers. So him learning from them guys is huge, and I think that's going to show here, and it's going to be his first test of his new grappling skill. 3 out of 5 on the confidence that Michael Oleksiejczuk can get his hand raised on Saturday. We'll jump right into the main card here, guys, because I want this thing to get going. I'm almost done here. My voice is already cutting through. Let's get it. Match like number 5, Tim Elliott versus Kai Asakura. Asakura is a negative 350 favorite, whereas Tim Elliott plus 270 underdog. Tim Elliott is the 11th ranked flyweight in the world. Kai Asakura is a 15th ranked flyweight in the world. Kai needs to show that he belongs in the UFC. Coming from Ryzen, Ryzen's got great competitors, so it's not a bad organization to come up through. Tim Elliott, though, has been a UFC gatekeeper for a while now, and he has been upsetting people. So this is a big, big test for Kai. If Kai cannot get a win here on Saturday, he might not be a flyweight competitor in the top 15. So he's got to throw it on here. I think he can do it. I think he has the skill set to do it. I think learning what he did wrong against Pantoja is going to serve him some very, very good skill set to learning curve from. And to use it against Tim Elliott is a perfect challenge for him. Kai Asakura gets his hand raised on Saturday, 1 out of 5 on the confidence level that happens. Match leg number 4 is another middleweight fight, but this is a little different here. We get Jared the Killer Gorilla Cannonier versus Michael Venom Page. Michael Venom Page is a 15th ranked welterweight. Remember what I said, it's a middleweight fight. So he kind of bounces in between the two divisions, and he can do that. He's actually got the skill to do it too. So it's very, very cool. Venom Page, negative 195 favorite. Killer Gorilla, plus 165 underdog. Look, man, Jared Cannonier at 41 showed me he can still do it. The problem I have with Jared is he backs up too much, and when you back up against Michael Venom Page, he lands on you, and it turns into a nighty-night bad situation. So I'm going to go with the advantage striker here. If Cannonier has any thought, he's taken Venom Page to the ground, and we've seen Michael Venom Page. He has good grappling defense. He's not that bad. He just has no grappling offense. He doesn't go for that. So pretty cool. It's going to be a very good fight to see. It's a banger. Cannonier is the number 9th ranked middleweight, if I didn't say that. I feel like I didn't say that, so I'm just going to throw that out there. But Michael Venom Page gets his hand raised on Saturday. 3 out of 5 on the confidence level. He gets his hand raised. Match leg number 3, Jeff Neal, Carlos Parates in the welterweight division. Number 11, Jeff Neal versus number 12, Carlos Parates. Plus 200 on Neal, negative 250 on Parates. Look, Carlos learned his lesson, I think, against Ian Machado Gary, is that he has to bring the fight from the start. He cannot conserve his gas tank just because it's a 5-round fight. He needs to fight his style of fight and come forward and be a bully. Well, Jeff Neal, he's more of a counter striker type, so he's going to let him come forward. So this is going to be a fight where whoever lands those power shots right in the beginning, it's good to go. I'm betting this fight does not go the distance. That's what I would put down for sure. But otherwise, I'm going Carlos Parates here. I just think his hands are going to be too brutal for Jeff Neal. I don't think Jeff's going to be able to get the counter and be able to hurt him because he's just going to keep walking forward and take it. Parates is a dog and an animal. 3 out of 5 on the confidence level. He can get his hand raised. Woo! All right, match like not even number 2, I should say. Co-main event of the evening, boys and girls, featherweight bout. We get to see Bellator's Aaron Pico finally come over to the UFC, and it's not been good for Bellator fighters this year to come over on their first fight. Their second fight, they do way better, but their first fight, it just seems like the jitters actually get to them. Lerone Murphy's taking this on short notice, yes, but that guy is a dog at the featherweight. His first featherweight fight in the UFC goes to a tie. He wins the next 7 or 8 straight. So he's on a big fight win streak. He's got the hands, he's got the skill set, and he's got grappling even to go with it. But he doesn't always use it. He mainly uses the striking, and he will point fight you, but he will put your lights out too. I think that's going to be too much for Aaron Pico. Aaron Pico's a negative 180 favorite, plus 150 on Lerone Murphy. Put your money on Lerone Murphy, because we're going to go with the odds on the better side here and what's been happening in the trend, and these Bellator fighters have not been coming up good. So Lerone Murphy, big win on Saturday, 3 out of 5 on the confidence level that he gets his hand raised. And we are finally to this part that I've been wanting to talk about so bad. All right, so For the middleweight championship, Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. Chimaev's a negative 260 favorite. Dricus is a plus 210 underdog. It's not every day that you get a freaking champion underdog plus 210, double your money type stuff right there. That's crazy in itself. Yes, I know Chimaev's skill set is great. I know before that people have said I'm a Chimaev hater. I get that. I'm not gonna fully deny it because the two fights that guy's been tested in, for one of them I know he lost. I'll say it. The judges got it wrong. He lost that fight with Burns. The fight with Usman, he just got a little exposed on the gas tank side. So all week I've been hearing about, Chimaev's been working on his gas tank. It's like for 6 weeks he's been doing this cardio thing, and it's just going to make his cardio even better. In 6 weeks, I'm going to just tell you guys right now, in 6 weeks, that 6 weeks is not going to be enough to improve your cardio. Okay? It'll improve it some. I'm not saying it's not going to improve, but it's not going to be leaps and bounds like what people are talking about. So I do really feel on the side that's been being said by everybody that Chimaev in the first 2 rounds, Dricus in 3, 4, and 5, or decision. I'm going to one up on some people. So here's my bet angle on this. If you're picking the money line and you're putting it on something, I'll say what you should put it on in a parlay, in a 3-leg parlay. So I won't say that part. But the single bets, if you're just going to bet the money line on Dricus, go for it. It's worth the risk. In fact, that's who I think wins. Yes, that's who I think wins on Saturday. The reasoning is that just Dricus always comes through. Chimaev's got this crazy first outburst. Dricus gets through that, let's just say, and he loses the round. Let's say he even loses the round 10-8. Because he just gets dominated the whole thing. He figures it out, it seems like. So that's the way I'm going to look at it, because also Chimaev's only had 14 professional fights. If he does do it on Saturday, he is the boogeyman. I'll admit it. I will admit it. That's where he's got to beat Dricus on Saturday for me to admit it. But here's the way I'd bet on this. Personally, my single bets. These are my 5 that I'm doing on this one. Dricus by finish. Just picking it, Dricus by finish. I like Dricus by finish so much because you'll get better odds on that plus 210. You'll probably get it up in the plus 350 side, or if not higher. If you pick like a KO or a submission, you're going to get really high. But if you pick just finish, you'll just boost your odds. And I like it because that's who I honestly feel like wins on Saturday. But then if you're going to go on the Chimaev side, now the negative 260 does not entice me anyway on the money line. But here's what I'd bet. I bet the submission side and the TKO side in the first round by Chimaev on each of them, 10, 20 bucks on each of them. You're going to get pretty good odds on there and walk out with some money, all 4 of them. Or if you're very confident in something, just do the first round because you're going to get good odds on it. It's all worth it right there. But like I said, Dricus, I feel like wins. I just feel like Dricus is going to come through because he's been the champ, and I feel like Chimaev's first test on a guy that's not going to give up the second he gets taken to the ground. I didn't think Robert Whittaker would do that, but Rob showed me. Rob's just been finished and beaten too many times, and that the fight and flight thing happened where he wanted to fight, yes, but he wanted to be in a better position, and the better position was more for Chimaev. That could happen to Dricus too. I'm not saying it won't. I'm not dogging Chimaev. I'm not saying he won't win. I'm just saying I believe in Dricus that flipping much. All right, y'all. All right, here are my others. On the sheet was just the Dricus finish and the submission and TKO on the first 2 rounds by Chimaev. Here's your 2 parlays. My first one is my confident one. I'm going to go Kareem Silva with the negative 220, Chase Hooper with a negative 350, Mikhail Olajuwon with his negative 235, Carlos Parates with his negative 250, and Leroy Murphy to top it off on that plus 150 to get the money up there because I'm super confident in those. All 5 of those, I'm just utmost confidence. You'll see why too with one of them in a minute. Now, my next one's called my risky one where it's going to get the money up there, okay? It's going to get you plus money that you're going to love, and you're going to love the payout of it, but it's 3-leg parlay, so it's a little risky. Brian Battle, negative 170. Jakar close plus 115. Dricus 2 Plessis on the money line plus 210. That's the way I'm playing that one. That will get you some crazy good odds too. And all your cash person, which I brought you back this week, brought you back probably for a while because I like the all your cash one. I got a lot of money, you know. All your cash is literally put all your cash on this person because they're not losing. And if they do lose, it's a once in a lifetime lose. So that would be Karine Silva. Karine Silva does not lose on Saturday. She has the second fight on the prelims, on the early prelims. So put it in there, put it out there. Shout out to Right Way Production Studios for always making this happen. And we will see you next week, baby, or the week after. I haven't looked at next week's schedule yet because I only plan in the moment for right now for the sports gambling. Let's go. Peace out, y'all.